So Betsi, thanks for being with us today.
Sure,
We
my
appreciate
pleasure.
it. All right, so I think most people, as we all get older, we've got parents that maybe have been in their home for quite a while, and it's really senior living should be an option that they're considering. So I'm saying, assuming I'm the parent, and I say the child of the parent in this situation, we've had a group meeting and we're thinking about senior living. What should be our step? Where do we go from here?
Call me.
Okay, see, there you go. And you will have Betsi's information on this. Okay.
I've been doing this for a long time.
Okay. So why don't you say that? How long you've been doing it?
A little over 7 years.
7 years.
Same
Okay.
community.
Right.
My community has lots of tenure. So they would call or just come in. I would love for them to call me so I can make sure I'm there.
Okay.
So come in and we would sit down and just have a conversation. Find out what is going on. Why are they thinking all of a sudden it's time to make a move? What they're interested in, what they might be looking for in a community, or maybe they don't know anything about.
So basically, you're going to do a needs analysis for them when they come in. You're going to sit and have a conversation, kind of go through what options are out there, correct?
Right,
Okay,
right.
so explain what would be the senior living options for them, like at your location, or in theory, you may say, we're not the best location, but we have another within our company that might be. So why don't you share what the options?
Okay, in Arlington, there's actually 3 Brookdale locations. My location actually offers something in Arlington that nobody else has. My community has independent living, assisted living, and memory care. Then we have a community that's called, and I'm Brookdale Lake Arlington. My community is on Woodside, and also we're so big we have an address on Little Road. So we have 18 acres there.
Right over there, Southwest Arlington,
Right.
Lake Arlington.
They're Lake Arlington.
Okay.
Brookdale Arlington is on, well, I've been in Arlington a long time. I would say 303. A lot of people would say Pioneer Parkway, right between Davis and Fielder. They are only independent living.
Got it.
And then we have one more that's on North Fielder, right across from, right by Wimbish Elementary School, right there.
And that's memory care?
They do have memory care and they have assisted living. The only thing I want to say about assisted living in the state of Texas is there are 2 types.
Okay.
A and B. And it all has to do with, would you be able to evacuate the community within a particular amount of time by yourself?
Okay.
So in other words, if you can't transfer yourself from, maybe you're in a wheelchair and you can't transfer yourself from that wheelchair to your bed or from your wheelchair to the toilet, then you would need to live in a type B community. That's my community.
Got it.
Brookdale Pecan Park is a type A. Our memory cares are both the type B.
Okay. So maybe just a little Cliff Notes version of what is independent living, assisted living, memory care, et cetera.
Independent living is you're going to rent an apartment basically, except I offer a lot of services.
Okay.
At my community, and that's going to be different also between any independent community you go to. My particular community, we have 3 meals every day, full meals, served restaurant style. It's not a buffet. The breakfast, you can order eggs cooked to order any morning. We have housekeeping every week. That includes linen service. They'll launder your linens and your towels for you every week. We also includes all your utilities. We have central heat and air, so you keep your apartment however you like it. We have transportation services, activities. It's very, very all-encompassing. But you are free to come and go as you please, and it's your apartment. And we try to be just as accommodating as we can as far as what you can do or paint or whatever.
Okay. So because I think that would be, for argument's sake, I know a lot of folks wait too long to get involved.
Right.
But assuming that they have not done that, in other words, independent living is truly an option for them.
Absolutely.
Then, so we've got 1-bedroom units, 2-bedroom units, et cetera. Is that the 2-bedroom being the largest, or
the 2-bedroom's the largest that I have at my community.
Right.
Starts in actually a studio as well.
Okay.
It's from
So
a
it's
studio,
smaller. Okay.
and 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom. One other thing I might say about our independent living, if you just need a little bit of help, like maybe maybe you just went to the doctor and all of a sudden
Right.
you're taking a bunch of medication that
Right.
you just can't quite figure out
Understand.
how to take.
Okay.
There's a little step at my community in between moving to assisted living
Okay.
where you could stay in independent living. It's called personalized living.
Okay.
And they work for Brookdale. They're in our community from about 6 in the morning until about 9 at night.
Okay.
And they could help with something like that.
Okay.
Or maybe you had a dog and
Okay.
you were very mobile, but you couldn't.
Let's
you
say you're
weren't
feeling
mobile
underneath the weather.
Absolutely.
Type
They
of
could walk your dog.
They could walk
for you.
it. Now, are these, and I think I just answered my question because of the dog part of it, but are they any medical training or what's their,
No, that's non-medical.
okay,
No.
non-medical. They're just basically a
personal
service
type.
person, you know, I say a housekeeper, somebody who, I say a housekeeper, but something but who can assist you with those duties.
Right,
type
private
situation.
duty type.
Whether it's an ongoing or short-term
Absolutely.
type situation.
Mhm.
Okay, so as far as the amount, meaning when somebody's going in there, is there any type of assistance? Is it something they pay on their own? How does that work as far as
We're all
independent?
private pay.
Okay,
All private pay.
so elaborate on private pay for everybody else so they
Okay.
understand what that means.
When you move to a community,
Uh-huh.
generally you're going to pay what's called a community fee.
Mhm.
I like to say it's kind of like your homeowners association fee, but you're going to just pay it one time all up front.
Okay.
They vary in range between different communities.
Sure, okay.
And that's all in independent living. No independent living is licensed by the state of Texas, like
Okay.
our assisted living.
Okay.
So if you came in today and said, "Hey Betsi, I need to move very quickly.
Mhm.
Mike just sold my house,
Right.
and oh my goodness, I have to be out quickly."
Right.
So I could say, "Okay, well, if I have something available that you want,
Right.
we can go sign that lease today, and you can move in tomorrow."
And I'm going to jump forward for a little bit because I know
Okay.
one of the things that we always need to take into consideration if I'm selling your home, your parents' home, whatever it might be, whoever applies to the situation. Once you've identified the community that you want to go into, we've got to make sure that there is an opening there.
Right.
Right? Because
Right.
then otherwise,
Absolutely.
you're moving in temporary quarters, you're moving in with your kids, whatever the case
Or
may
you
be.
may move to, like right now at my community, I don't have any 2-bedroom apartments available.
Okay.
So if that's what you wanted right now, what we would do is put you on my waiting list.
Right.
And if you needed to move quickly, which we've done this also, I could move you to another apartment. And then as soon as one became available,
Yep.
we would
Okay.
move you there. And we generally would pay for that as well.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay, so what would be, if I put my name on a waiting list, what would you say, again, let's assuming it's a 2-bedroom, which seems to be, I say in demand or whatever.
Right.
What would you say the average wait time would be?
That is really hard to say because I could have 3 tomorrow, or I might not have any for 6 months.
Okay,
So it's really, really hard to say that. I usually know at any time if you were to, let's say you moved into my community
Mhm.
and then let's say your kids were going to move to Timbuktu and they
Mhm.
said, "Okay, Mom, you have to come and move with us."
Mhm.
At any point in time in independent living, you can give a 60-day notice. and
Okay.
move. So a lot of times I might know, hey, I've got one that's coming.
Right.
That type of thing.
Okay, all right, and so aside from the initial fee that you're referring up front, and then you'd have your monthly rent,
Right.
correct? Any other fees that you have?
No other fees unless you, we have a salon, so if
Right.
you decided to go get your hair done,
Right.
or maybe have a pedicure or
Right.
something like that. Our residents go out to lunch and
Sure.
dinner. If you're gonna go do one of those extracurricular kind of things, if you're going to an outing.
Right.
Other than that, there wouldn't be
No
any.
utilities?
Nope, all included.
Okay,
And
so
and ours is central heat and air, so you
Okay.
don't have those little units that are like at a hotel in a window. They're
Okay.
just keep it however you like it.
All right, so if anything goes wrong within your unit, you just call and basically put a maintenance
You
call
just
in?
call.
Get it taken care of?
Our maintenance guys are great,
Okay.
and anything other than just like a lamp light
Right.
bulb,
Right.
we'll take care of.
All right, so my granddaughter comes in from out of town. She wants to come see me. Can anybody spend the night?
Sure.
Okay, and I'm assuming there's a limited time that they can do that type of
No,
situation?
can't stay longer than 7 days.
Okay.
The other thing we do have at my community is a guest suite.
Okay,
So if that's available, it's only $80 a night.
Right.
And it includes your meals.
Wow.
So
Okay.
you can't really find a hotel for that.
I tell you what, but
And you're right there with your family.
but in theory too, you can do your own meals in the room too, depending kitchen. No.
In a 2-bedroom apartment at my community, it is a full kitchen.
Right.
So you have it, if you want to cook, then
If
you
you just,
can.
or you just want to do, you know, again, you're having friends over, you want to cook a
Absolutely.
meal or whatever, so to
Absolutely.
speak.
The other apartments have a kitchenette.
Kitchenette.
So they're gonna have a full-size refrigerator, a microwave. You're welcome to have a coffee pot, a toaster.
Kinda like a
that
dorm
kind of
room.
thing. Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
okay.
Uh-huh.
Great.
We do have a hobby kitchen
Okay.
that has a full kitchen. So I have definitely had residents at our community that maybe they have a particular cookie that they make, or
Right.
especially at
Right.
Christmas. I've
Yeah,
had
grandma
people
makes the
that
dessert
I
that
make
everybody
all
has
the
to
time.
have and all that.
That is available all the
Okay.
time
All right.
for them to use.
Very good. Okay, let's see here. Was something else I was going to ask, and I got off track there. Well, I'll probably come back to it. All right, so let's talk about assisted living.
Okay. Assisted living is licensed by the state of Texas.
Okay,
So there's a little bit more paperwork involved.
okay,
A doctor has to sign, it's called a physician's plan of care at my community.
mhm,
And it's a simple form, it's not anything that's difficult, but it just says, these are the medications you take, this is the kind of diet that you eat, and here's a diagnosis, those kinds of things. And then, again, you need a TB test
mhm,
or a chest x-ray,
okay,
and that's really all that's required. It's not jumping through a lot of hoops, but a little bit more paperwork involved. Generally, I can't move somebody in the same day unless you can really make some things happen pretty darn quickly.
gotcha.
When you're ready to move to assisted living, we have 2 nurses on
Mhm.
staff, and one of my nurses would go out and do an assessment. So let's say maybe
No, is that who's doing, when it's saying doctor, is it actually a nurse doing the assessment, or is it both, or?
no, the doctor is your doctor.
Oh, our doctor.
Your primary care
Got it,
doctor.
okay,
But let's say you were at a rehab
okay,
and you've been in your home and you fell and you broke your hip, and now all of a sudden you really can't go home. You
Okay.
really need some more help.
right,
So sometimes we can get that paperwork from the rehab as well, but our nurse would go out and do an assessment, nothing invasive, but just a conversation like you and I are
just
having.
running the protocol.
Tell
to
me
see if
about
it-
your day, Mike. Tell me what you do. Do you like to get up early or do you like to sleep in? What kind of help do you think you're gonna need while you're here at our community?
Gotcha.
And those kinds of things. So you move in,
And is that something
Yeah.
you would also potentially do with their kids?
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. If the kids can be there. you
Right, the
want
kids
them
can be there, you really
Mhm.
want, because it's all, that's who they're gonna consult with at a future point anyway,
Right.
to a great degree, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I know I was gonna ask before, so what would you say, going back to the independent living, what would you say the average time that you have a resident that's there, would you say?
I don't know, 3 or 4 years maybe.
Okay, right,
I mean, I have probably one of my longest tenured residents at my community. I have a few that have been there about 15 years.
wow,
A long, long time. And then
Says a lot for your
sometimes that does. But you have sometimes I have a lady that just moved in.
Mhm.
She was there for 10 minutes and then she has something happen. I can't remember. She came from a rehab. She moved back.
Oh.
She's back at the rehab, and I think she's probably going to end up moving to our assisted living.
Right.
But that's another great thing about my campus is that it's a very easy
Sure.
transition. It's across a parking lot.
So what would you say the percentage would be going from independent to assisted within your own community, would you say?
I don't know the answer to
10%?
that question.
Okay,
Yeah,
no, that's
I
fair
don't
answer.
really
Yeah.
know the answer.
Just curious to see,
It's an easy transition.
to go, okay, good.
Mhm.
Good. Okay, so going into, so as far as their rooms, et cetera, meaning in the assisted, is it very similar to what you have in the independent, or is it?
The community looks very similar
Right.
as far as colors, that type of thing,
Right.
carpets, those kind of things. Generally in assisted living, it's going to be smaller.
Okay.
Most of my assisted living apartments are studio
I was
apartments.
gonna say going towards your efficiency, et cetera,
Right.
because they're limited with what they can do
A
anyway,
lot of
right?
time, right, and a lot of times they, shorter walks are
Mhm.
better.
Right.
Not quite as much furniture, particularly if you have a walker or a
Mhm.
wheelchair or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
You don't need things that you're gonna bump into.
So would activities be something different there, or would they come over to the independent and kind of go into there too, or how does that work?
All of that's available,
Okay.
but any senior living community is going to have activities directors, but we have a
Right.
full-time activity director in all aspects of my campus. So I have one in independent living, assisted living, and in memory care. So still same kinds of activities, tailored, more towards whatever they can participate in.
Sure.
Again, still go on field trips, still have outings, lunch outs, those kinds of things. So
Okay.
all still available.
Okay, so, dealing with seniors both from, working as far as selling their homes, more friends, parents, and my own mother. Sometimes the seniors can get a little stubborn, so to speak. That type of thing. We're a bunch of young whippersnappers. I can only speak for myself. I'm getting ready to be 60, and they still think I'm in like third grade. So, that type of thing. So, to me, the hardest thing is having that conversation, and then where they'll go, okay, I get it,
Right.
that thing. Okay. So I would think even the harder thing is, and I've experienced this when selling with homes, is somebody who is having the memory issues, or especially the beginning of it, which I would imagine there's, at least from what I've observed, I hate to use the word denial, but it's just that I don't have it. It's really not,
Right.
whatever, and going through there with the family. So what's the normal, I say procedure, what do you see, like the steps that happen when you're going into memory care, that type of thing?
And sometimes I just want to say, somebody that has just a little bit of dementia, they can still live in independent living.
Right.
There's often times where they can. If they might be a little forgetful
Sure.
here and there, but they could still get in a routine and do that.
Would you, in theory, with the complex or community, I'm sorry, I know it's a complex.
That's okay.
I know where that. Would they, in theory, like red flag that particular person to keep a little extra eye on them, or once it becomes known, or
There's a lot of it's a two-way street.
the family may inform
the
you?
Family, sometimes if it's an iffy situation, we might have our nurse do an assessment as well.
Right.
If we think we're not real
As
sure.
long as they're not in danger to
Right,
themselves or
absolutely.
anybody else.
If they can still, if they know when to go to meals and
Right.
can live independently, then it might be a perfect fit. Or it might be a perfect fit for assisted living, where
Right.
they need to have a smaller community, but they're
Right.
still able to know when to go to meals, or maybe they just need a little bit of prompting. When you get to memory care, it's a secure neighborhood. So
Okay.
if somebody becomes a danger to themselves,
Right.
if maybe they were apt to walk outside and not know where they were, or get lost, or even walk outside when it was 100 degrees and maybe say, well, I was just going to go for a walk, that might not be a good idea for
Sure.
someone that's 90 to do that.
Right.
So that might be a trigger.
Right.
Where they need to be somewhere that's more secure.
Understood.
If they just need to have more attention or more people around all the time. In assisted living and in memory care, there's care associates in our community 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So what would be the community's biggest challenge with somebody who is in memory care? Would it be?
Depends. Particularly someone that is used to living at their home. Sometimes it's very difficult to get them to come to
Sure.
the community.
Right.
That's a hard thing to do sometimes.
Right.
A lot of times folks that have dementia have their days and nights reversed.
Right.
That can be hard. That's something though in a community that like ours, it's okay. There's someone up and available to them all the time.
How important is family involvement at that?
That would be very important.
I would think.
Very important. And we also, when someone moves to memory care, there's still that person inside of them,
Right.
but it's the disease.
Right.
And so we want to know, there's a big questionnaire that you fill out when you move to memory care
Right.
of what did you do?
Sure.
You were a realtor. I
Right.
sold homes. I did this.
Right.
I was a physical therapist,
Right.
or I was whatever. What did you do? What hobbies did you have?
Right.
What do you like to eat? You might not be able to tell me that you hate fish.
Sure.
But if I know that, then I'm not ever gonna serve you that.
A peanut
Because
allergy, whatever the case might
right,
be.
whatever it is,
Right.
I wanna know, you know, if
Sure.
if you got up at 6 o'clock every day of your life when you were working, and then
Right.
you retired and you said, I'm not getting up till 9 o'clock, I wanna know that.
Right.
I don't wanna get you up at 6
Sure.
or 7 or whatever.
Right.
I want to get you up, we want to do what you're accustomed to,
Understand.
not you fitting into our schedule.
All right, so what about skilled nursing?
Brookdale has one skilled nursing that's in Tarrant County, and
Okay.
it's at our City View location in Fort Worth.
Right,
It's on
right, Brian Irvin, right,
Mhm,
uh-huh.
mhm.
Okay, so just, that would basically, a little more detail as far as what goes on there.
Skilled nursing, a lot of, if you are needed, skilled nursing, there's kind of two parts to it, skilled nursing and rehab,
Mhm.
and then somebody that actually needs long-term care in a skilled nursing community. In an assisted living, even in a type B, I can't have someone that has an IV
Mhm.
or has a feeding tube that they can't
Right.
take care of. If for some reason your doctor says you need a nurse 24/7,
Right.
that kind of thing. Or if you're bedbound,
Right.
in assisted living, you have to be able to get up, or
Right.
not necessarily on your own,
Right.
but you have to be able
Would be
to,
somewhat
yeah,
mobile
you
to a
can't
degree,
be
right,
bedbound.
right, like
So
we talked about.
those were kind of things. A lot of time, I would say that it's very possible for someone to live in our assisted living until end of life.
Understood.
And we do work with, Brookdale has home health
Mhm.
and hospice as
Mhm.
well. So both of those, as well as work with other, you're not obligated to use Brookdale's.
Right.
But we do work with many home health companies and hospice as well.
So let's go back to independent living. Is
Okay.
there you have to be at least a certain age?
Generally 62.
62,
but,
okay.
We can make some exceptions.
Okay. And it seems now, and I'm just curious, folks are definitely living longer,
Mhm.
and folks are, besides living longer, they're healthier. I mean, you look at a group that's around 60 and they go,
We think we're real young.
well,
so
or we
don't
look like that. No, but it's funny. If you look at the pictures of like our grandparents, when they
Right.
were the same age, you're like
Right.
going, oh my God, they look ancient. And you could
Right.
just put our picture next to them. So I guess where I'm going with this is, do you see that age going up? Meaning, do you see where that trend will be 65 or 70 or something?
I would say most people don't move when they're 62.
Right.
They move later.
Would
I
you
would
say?
say they move at 80
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
Or
Which is going
or
back to
later.
what we were saying that, well, and again, it could be, in theory, that sometimes, they're either in great health and they don't need to do it,
Right.
or they've waited too long.
Yes. And that's my soapbox. Can I tell you what
Please,
that
that's
is?
what I want to hear.
I really just have a couple of things, but move when you're able and you can make the decision.
Right.
And no one has to make that decision for you.
I agree.
That's my best advice to anybody out there that's thinking about it is, more than not, I have people that say, gosh, I wish I would have done this earlier. I wish I would not have waited so long.
Right.
The other thing I've had people say is, I didn't realize at my age I would still be making new friends.
Right.
And so there was a big article in an AARP magazine
Mhm.
about that very thing.
Right.
About how, and there's been many studies about how socialization is just key to staying active,
Right.
staying healthy.
Right.
And so,
Keeps the mind working.
absolutely. So I would just move sooner than later,
Right.
and get right in the big fat middle of things.
Yeah, because I think, like with my mom, she's very social. She's in more groups than I can. Everybody says, is your mom like, she's always getting up there a little bit. She just sit around the house. I said, my mother's never home. She's always out doing something with some, organization,
Right.
whatever the case may be. So, but again, seeing it on the other side too, there are some folks who all of a sudden kind of become, and a lot of times it's due to health. They kind
Right.
of shut in and they don't do it, and they start shutting down and not realizing that there is another side
Right.
of their life that they can now go experience type situation.
Absolutely. And independent living, like your mom,
Right.
maybe she's just tired of all the upkeep on her
Right.
house, tired of cooking. It would just be easy to live somewhere and have somebody else do that.
Right.
She can bring her car,
Right.
she can have her own parking place,
Right.
and she can still go to all those things that she
Yes.
does. but she can have somebody that takes care of everything else for her.
Absolutely right. You know, that's exactly right. Okay, so we've made the decision that we're going to, let's just say, independent living.
Okay.
All right. So there's a lot of steps that need to be done in order to get there.
Right.
Okay. You want to share a few of those?
Well, and that depends on everybody's situation.
Okay. So let me interrupt you 1 second. So earlier we were talking about a Miss Merchant, right?
Catherine Merchant.
And she's
yes.
basically got a concierge service for,
Right.
with the exception of selling now. That's what
That's
we're there
mine.
for. Okay. But she will kind of get you going on the other things. Why
Right.
don't you share
Her
some of that?
company is called Caring Transitions, and she is kind of a one-stop shop. So Catherine could come. She could say, "Okay, Betsi, this person, tell me what kind of an apartment they're moving to."
Okay.
So I would tell her that. I can give her the floor plans. I have dimensions on all of it.
Right.
And then she would come out to your house and say, "Okay, Mike, let's look at your furniture. Tell me if you're moving from a 3-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom apartment, that you're gonna have to downsize a little bit."
Sure.
So she would say, "Tell me what is important to you. What are your treasures? What do you really have to bring? And then let's see what else we can bring." So she can make a plan for you, figure out what you can bring. She can pack for you. Catherine knows movers that she works with. I also know a lot of people that could help you with those things.
Let's talk about movers for 1 second.
Okay.
Okay. One of the things people don't realize is that you, being any of the senior sites, you have a certain protocol when it comes to moving, meaning what you can do or not do. So not every mover is aware of what to meet that protocol, and you got to make sure that you have somebody that does. Correct?
We use Bell Brothers.
Okay,
Almost, I know other movers,
Right.
but they do a great job. They move for us all the time in-house when we are moving things or moving our model or maybe we have to move some folks. They do a great job. Ray and Bell is the owner of that company. They're in Fort Worth, and they're great.
Good.
I would highly recommend them.
Good. Okay.
So, but back to Catherine, so she would even go, she could help you pack everything, then move to my community, unpack, hang your pictures, put your furniture where it goes, and then she can do estate sales. Maybe you need to get rid of your house
Right.
or
Stuff
everything
right.
in it.
Or
so she
donate
can
or
help you
whatever.
with that. She can all of the above.
Okay.
All
So
of
with the exception of selling, we've got somebody who can help you do
Right.
A to Z. The R part being real estate, that's what they call us. So that's the only part of the alphabet she's not helping with.
Right.
So, all right, well, fantastic. Now I'm assuming, rates are gonna vary depending on floor plan,
Right.
which community, et cetera, right? So it would be in their best interest, I would assume, bring a family member, especially, maybe, and then make sure you check it all out, make sure you understand what your fees are. But again, the bottom line is that you're gonna be upsizing the rest of your life after that.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. You want to give us a little plug? Give us your email and your phone number.
Okay. My name again is Betsi. My last name is Goode. I'm at Brookdale, Lake Arlington. My email is Betsi, and I don't have any names you can spell just easily. So Betsi is BETSI dot. My last name is Goode, or my husband usually says Goode.
Yeah, he does.
GOODE. My Goode has an E on it. At Brookdale.com. My phone number is 817-457-9710.
Great. So if just counseling with your parents, or you're thinking about, this is the lady to come talk to. I've known Betsi a long time, and trust me, as I always put your interests first above anything else, that's exactly what she does too. So we appreciate you guys listening. Until next time.